Hey everyone, my name is Dr. Jocelyn Conley, pelvic floor physical therapist, and in this video I'm going to go over step-up variations that you can include in your training for a slightly different training effect, or to challenge different muscles during the step-up. The first, if you haven't watched the step-up video, I've put the link in the description. So check that out first to get the main meat of how to execute the step up for maximum benefit. Otherwise, let's just get to it. So two variations that I'm going to go over today is the diagonal step up and then the lateral step up. First one is the lateral step up, and the purpose of the lateral step up is to target the side glutes and the hip stabilizers. And it isn't so much, I mean, depending on how you execute, one can argue that it is, but it isn't so much on the step up portion itself as it is the transitions. So it's like the transitions that drive the motor program or the muscle groups that work together to execute this. So let's just go over the basics. You're gonna have a step, and you're gonna stand on to the side of the step. You start in a neutral position, pelvis and ribs are stacked, hip, which is here, knee and ankle in line, and in line with my shoulder. You're gonna laterally step on the surface, full foot onto the surface that you're using, and then go straight up. Now, as you are doing this, the goal here is not to let your hip drop like this. That's a different exercise, and that's okay if that is a goal, but not intentional for what I'm going over today. Sometimes I'll combine the two, but not for this. So pelvis stays level the whole time, which means when you go to do this, you've got a tip from your hip, nose is going over your toes, over the leg that's stepping up, and then you step straight up. As you step off the step, you want to do your best to keep your knee over in line of the middle of your foot. So the transition is the stability as your leg goes out to the side, as well as the movement, the lateral movement of the hip in this transition. And it's also how you are stabilizing your core to control your hip and your knee on the one that is stepping up and down. Again, one more time from the side, tip from the hip, stand straight up, then tip from the hip as you go down. Yes, you can be more upright, just like I reviewed in that original step up video. And depending on how you execute it, your hip stabilizers and hip abductors are still going to be working for the main stuff, but then of course your other muscles, your ankle muscles or thigh muscles will be helping as well. Now, common errors, I've already shown one, is this, dropping at the level of your hip and your pelvis, which affects your neutrality in your spine. And then the other common error is hip and knee position during the transition. So we don't want your knee and hip to be out of control on the transitions. The transitions, especially for people in pain or athletes, are the most important part here. A couple ways to enhance this, again, as I said in the other video, squeeze your glutes, exhale as you stand up, connect to the ground with your feet, and then, of course, I mentioned with the breath work, exhale up, inhale down. The second variation is diagonal step-ups. So I'm going to stick to this direction. Diagonal step-ups targets the intermediate, so you have the anterior hip abductors, flexors, and then you have the posterior hip abductors, extensors. So when you're stepping out like this puts certain muscles in an optimal angle to work versus if I were in the front of the step going backwards. But I'm going to go over the forward one today. And you step diagonally. As you step diagonally, your spine stays in neutral. The only thing that's moving is your hip. So from the side, I'm not moving everything. I'm stabilizing on this back hip. It's just my hip moving until I go to step up and then down. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing. So my hip is moving this way as I go up and down the step. This often turns into a more explosive movement later on in training. Not always what I utilize in a rehab state, but sometimes, depending on the person. It's a great way to train the hip stabilizers differently. Same thing as with the lateral step up. It's you want to keep your spine and your hips square the whole time, so you're not dropping, and you want to make sure your knee and your hip are not caving or you're losing control there. Squeeze glutes, exhale as you go up and down. Connect with your feet. Ways to make this harder would be to put a band around your legs. It's great for feedback, as well as adding resistance to this movement. You're gonna feel this all around your hips, quads, glutes. If you have any questions, please comment below. If you like this video, like it, and don't forget to subscribe so you know every time a video is dropped. Know anyone that could benefit from this video, please share. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.